Hello there, Leos. Thank you so much for stopping by for your very in-depth tarot video forecast for the month of February. Right now, what we're going to look at is February 1st through the 14th, and then in the second segment of the video, we'll look at February 15th through the 28th. For those of you who are cross-watching because you're interested in getting some insights about a Leo in your life that you care about, you are welcome to be here. What you do need to know, however, is that this is a video that is about Leo and for Leo. So on my channel, energies don't go back and forth. So if you want to find information about you during those time frames, then what you want to do is you want to watch a video that addresses your sun sign, your rising sign, or your moon sign. Okay, because these videos are going to be about and for my Leo people. All right, so let's take a peek. Just energies are not reversible. I know a lot of readers have reversible energies. You should know that that doesn't fly on my channel. I'd like to know who I'm actually reading for. I think it's kind of important. All right, Leos, your cards are down. The first thing that we're going to look at does talk to me about your environment during this particular time frame. So it does look like there's something going on in your environment that is being fixed, repaired, upgraded, something like that during this time frame. I think that you've put a lot of thought, and you are putting a lot of thought, strategy, planning into this fix or this repair. And I think that this is one of those things that it just is not going as smoothly as you would hope it would, which, you know, what kind of construction or remodel or upgrade does. There's always something that sort of comes up, I think. And so this is what we have here, is that, you know, this is not going as smoothly as you thought. I don't get the sense that you're not going to be happy with the overall results once everything is done. I just don't see everything being done just yet during this particular time frame. Next thing that we are looking at for you, Leos, has to do with your subconscious leanings. So, subconscious leanings, you guys are really looking towards beginning something new and more or less following your intuition to begin that new thing. And Leos, that new thing may have to do with energy work or intuition itself for quite a few of you. The thing is, though, that there's a lot going on in your life right now. So it feels to me like your energies are a little scattered. You may not know exactly where to start with this new thing. And so I think that's what your subconscious is working on, just sort of getting grounded and figuring out, okay, if I want to do this, then what's the most logical first step, and then the next step, and then the next step. Kind of almost feels like, you know, one step at a time, just going for what's the next most logical thing to do here, to keep yourself from feeling scattered and like you're just running around like a chicken with your head cut off as you begin this new beginning. So your subconscious is really working on that. And then the other aspect that comes up here is that there may be some competition in whatever this is that you're getting started with. And so your subconscious is also working on, how do I make myself stand out from the competition? What's my big draw that would make people want to come to me for what I have rather than somebody else that's already out there? Okay, so a couple of things we have showing up for your subconscious. Usually we don't get a double meaning there, but we did this time. La, da, da, da. Next thing we're looking at is your learning style and also your communication style during this time frame, Leos. So Leos. I do think you're doing a lot of learning, picking up a lot of interaction with picking up a lot of information, I should say, with interaction with others. I also feel like there's something that you're trying to learn about that you found a good source to sort of hook up to and listen. So there may be, maybe you're signing up for a newsletter if you're trying to find out information about the best way to invest. Maybe you're signing up for a newsletter or something like that. But there's something that you've found, whatever this information is that you're looking for, and it doesn't have to be investing. That was just an example. I think that you're definitely finding somebody who is a good resource for that information and really sucking up all the information that you can from them. Maybe you've even found a mentor here. Also, as far as learning style, I do think that you're learning something by participating in it. What's coming to me is that you're probably being invited to participate in whatever this is that you're learning about. So I think you're getting some kind of invitation to participate in something that you're not that familiar with, and there's a lot to learn here. Okay, now, next thing we're looking at is communication style, Leo. Let's see what we have. I really think, Leos, you guys are getting some intuitive hits that are coming in during this time frame. And I think that you may even be working on sending messages psychically or sending energy in a psychic type of manner as communication. For some of you, you are communicating with somebody who has crossed over, as in doing some type of mediumship, whether this is with a family member or a friend or whether you're doing it professionally. I do feel like in general, you've got a lot of communication going on during this time. There's a lot of people that you are talking to. And I think that this communication is actually making you feel good, having all these people show up that you're communicating with and interacting with. Once again, I have this communicating with the divine, communicating with spirit world or somebody from spirit world showing up here. So strong hints on mediumship for communication. You're definitely hearing from somebody who has crossed over, whether you're doing that intentionally or whether you're just getting messages from them and you're going, I wonder if that's so-and-so trying to tell me something. Guess what? Whenever we think that, there's a reason why we think that. Yep, that's so-and-so trying to tell you something. That's just how that works. Okay? Now, let's look next at your work here, Leos. La da 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 da. I do feel like you are being given a lot of responsibilities, and you're leading, inspiring, guiding other people as we look at this time frame. And it looks like you are probably working on something that you thought was already done and over, and it looks like it's come back up. Maybe it needs to be retweaked a little bit, but it's come back up. And I think that you're not really so thrilled that you're working on this again, just because you did think it was over. You thought that this was complete, and now to realize that it's not complete, you are working on it, and I think that you're happy to have the work. But I think this is a little bit disappointing to you because you had hoped to be on to something different and new by now. All right, that's work. Let's take a peek at that part of your personality, which is being grown or expanded right now, Leos. What do we have coming up for that? All right, so this actually has to do with home or with family. And it looks like you are interacting with somebody who can have a little bit of toxicity going on. They may be obsessive compulsive. They may be somebody who has an addiction. But there's something going on that is unstable about somebody that you're interacting with in your family or maybe even literally in your home. And I see that as you're interacting with that person, you're really doing well. Now, I'm not saying that you're fixing them, but I see that you're finding ways to interact with them that are more healthy and more stable than what things were before. So that's where you're growing and expanding right now. I really get the sense for some of you, this is somebody who has memory issues, potentially even Alzheimer's or some type of dementia that you're interacting with and trying to keep them stable as you do so and doing a good job with it. All right. What else are we looking at? We're looking at, the next thing we're looking at is something that you are standing for. So this is something that somebody has, wanted to talk to you about. Maybe they wanted an explanation about why you're doing this thing. Or maybe they're actually confronting you and you're having to stand up for this or defend this. There is something going on here about a partnership. And I think that you've basically gotten the idea, or you've gotten the go-ahead that you can work together in this partnership on something. And the thing is that you already had something that you were working on that was taking a lot of your energy and your efforts. So this thing, you're sort of juggling this new thing along with the old thing, okay? Now, how the other person sees you after you've had a conversation about this is they see you as somebody who has made a decision, and that decision has kind of put you in a place where you're feeling really confused and scattered, and they're seeing you as somebody who, um, you're just putting out a lot of energy and effort. And I kind of get the sense that they feel like they don't know just how long you can keep this up. Excuse me a minute. Sorry about that, Leo. The next thing that we're going to look at here has to do with your flex point. So this is where you have a lesson or experience that you learn from, and then this changes your perspective at least a little bit so that your trajectory changes a little bit. So for your flex point, what do we have? It looks like you're basically doing some spiritual growth here. It looks like you have a situation where there's some kind of bad feelings between you and another person, or at least you're holding bad feelings towards them. And you are really clearing those out. You are, clearing out that negative energy to make way for good things, to make way for good things to happen in this relationship, or just to make way for a better relationship, one of the two. But you're doing some spiritual growth so that you can move forward when it comes to relationships and how they play out for you. Also going on at the same time, yep, somebody has shown you their true colors. And once you see their true colors, it looks to me like you're thinking, your opinion of them is a lot less than what it used to be. Okay? And I think that you are really letting somebody else know. And in fact, I think you're probably letting them know that this really kind of changes things for you, that you have, you see them in a different light now that you've seen their true colors. And I think you're being very honest and open and upfront with them about that. Also, at the same time, I feel like you are asserting your own independence, your own self-sufficiency. You are creating the things that you want to create. And that includes a sense of belonging, a sense of community. So even though you may be finding yourself independent and self-sufficient, I do think that you have people around you who are supportive and caring, and that goes both ways, that you care about them as well. So where do we see you at the end of this particular time frame, Leo? Well, let's take a look. La, da, 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 da. I do think that there's something that you're waiting on. There's something that you're expecting and you're waiting for this. And I think what's happening is you are waiting for and expecting some good news about money or material goods. And I think that you are getting prepared for that. You're really opening yourself up for that. So really, to me, this talks about, doing that manifesting type of work, waiting and expecting, and, just being prepared, opening yourself to be able to receive that. So kind of interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that type of work actually show up in a reading, at least not in this way before. Thank you for being here, Leos. I'm going to take a little break, and when I come back, we'll look at the rest of the month for you. See you soon. Okay, Leo, this time we are looking at February the 15th through the 28th. Welcome back. Let's see what kind of energies are floating around influencing you now. What is the purpose of getting a reading ahead of time? The purpose of getting a reading ahead of time is so that you have a heads up about what's coming down the pike. And also, if you don't like what you see or what you feel or what you get in a reading, you do have free will. That gives you the opportunity to change some decisions or make some different decisions so that what you don't want doesn't actually have to manifest just because it shows up on my table. Okay? So just because I see it here doesn't mean that it's written in stone. You do have free will. You can change the way things go for yourself. Just so you know. Just so you know. I think it's important to know that. That makes these readings a lot more empowering. If you don't realize that you have the ability to change things for yourself, then these could be kind of restrictive and maybe even depressing. We don't want them to be that way. We want them to be empowering. It's important that we know that we are the ones in control through our own decisions and our own interactions with the universe and with Source. We're able to change how things turn out in our lives. Okay, so let's take a peek at what energies are showing up influencing your energy during this time frame. What we're looking at right now is we are looking at your environment. Okay, so Leos, I think what I'm seeing here is that you are not very happy about something that's going on in your environment, and it's throwing your emotions out of whack, and so you're having some really strong reactions to something that's happening. You're actually being triggered by something that's happening in your environment. Now, the good thing that's coming out of this is that this is inspiring you to make some plans about how you want things to be in the future so that you're more in control of things in the future rather than somebody else. Next thing that we have showing up here, Leos, talks to me about your subconscious leanings. So to me, this is coming through as there's something going on. And for some of you, this is going to be you, and for some of you, this is going to be somebody else in your sphere of influence that you care about. But there's something going on where there's a person who is facing a health challenge. And I think with your subconscious, you are really looking for, okay, what are the answers about improving this health situation? And I think that you are specifically trying to find answers about how to improve this health situation, because I think the options that you're seeing at first are, they're more expensive. They may be a little bit out of your price range, or they may even be a lot out of your price range. So I think what you're looking at here is you're sort of brainstorming at a subconscious level on what you can do to improve either your health or somebody who you care about's health in a way that doesn't cost you more money than what you actually have. So that's what you're working on with your subconscious. La, da, 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 da. That could be as simple as maybe you want to eat more healthy and you're looking at the prices of organic stuff or non-GMO stuff in the store and you're going, wow, I wasn't expecting there to be that big of a difference. I mean, it could be as simple as something like that. Next thing we're looking at does talk to me about learning style, and then after that we'll look at communication style. But for learning style, there is something that you're trying to find more out about, and I think as you're trying to find out more, you're running into gaps or holes in the information that you have so far that you're trying to fill so that you can understand this big picture. I also feel like you're doing something. I've got two impressions coming off of this card. First of all, I feel like you're learning about something that makes you feel happy. And also, I feel like you're learning about exercise for a lot of you. It could be that you're learning about exercise and you're finding an exercise that does actually make you happy, one that you don't mind doing, one that you're not counting every second until you're done, one that you're actually enjoying. But definitely you're finding out two things. You're finding out about something that makes you happy. You're also finding out about exercises that work for you, that fit your schedule, that fit your lifestyle, that fit your body. So we've got two different things that we're looking at, probably combined into one. Okay, Leos? And then the next thing that we're looking at, what is this? I think that you're learning about how you can be happy without necessarily having somebody else in your life to count on to bring you that happiness. So that doesn't mean that you're all single, Leos. It just means that you're finding ways to make yourself happy, whether somebody else around you is making you happy or not. Okay? And you may or may not have somebody else around you. Some of you are going to have people around you that, yeah, they make you happy. Some of you are going to have people around you that, no, they kind of aggravate the holy carruthers out of you. And others of you are just going to be, normally on your own. And so finding your own happiness in whatever situation you're in and realizing that you create that yourself is something that you're learning about right now. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about communication style. I do think there are places where you're holding back on communication with other people. There are certain things that you don't want to share. It comes across to me that you may have some goals that you just don't want other people to know about because you don't want them poo-pooing on them. Okay? What else do we have? I do feel like you've got somebody that you check in with regularly, that you talk to regularly. We saw a mentor kind of last time, possibly. This may be a mentor. It does kind of come across to me energetically like this is somebody who holds you accountable, even if the only thing that's really holding you accountable is the idea that you don't want to say something to them that lets them know that you're kind of sliding off your game. I don't know that they are necessarily going to be counseling you if you slide off your game. They may or may not. But I think that the bigger accountability piece here has to do with the idea of, you might think through the day, oh, if I don't get this done, then I'm going to, when I talk to so-and-so, then I'm going to have to say that. And I don't want to have to say that. I think that's where the accountability is really kicking in here. Also, as far as communication, what do we have? It looks to me like as you're communicating with other people around you, I think you're really trying to focus and highlight those things that are positive, those things that are good, those things that are empowering as you're communicating with others. Doesn't mean you're not being honest. Just means you're spending more time talking about the good stuff than the bad stuff. Alrighty, let me get a sip here. Excuse me, guys. All right, so next thing that we're looking at, Leos, has to do with work for you. I do think that there is something that you're learning about or finding out about at work. So some of you could just be going to some sort of orientation at work or some type of seminar, but there is definitely some kind of learning or some kind of training that you're getting at work. I think that overall you're pretty happy with work. I think we saw that last time too. Isn't that cool? And I think that you want to be a little bit careful because towards the end of this time frame, I feel like there are some things at work that are sort of falling between the cracks, like just not everything's getting covered. You've got a lot on your plate. And it looks to me like not everything is getting covered. So you may want to, if you're able, you may want to delegate some of your responsibilities to somebody who's capable of handling them, just so that you can keep things from falling through the cracks there and make sure everything keeps moving along smoothly. The next thing that I'm looking at here, Leos, has to do with that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. It looks like you are really focused on continuing on with something that you have started before. And whatever this is that you've started before, it really was a leap of faith when you started it. You had no idea where it was actually going to end up taking you, but it just seemed like the right thing to do at that time. And so I see you being really focused on continuing on with whatever that was that you started. And there's a degree of frustration here, because it seems to me like you're having a hard time. I feel like your motivation may actually be low when you're trying to continue on with this. You know that you want to continue on with it, but having the energy to actually keep it going might be another story. And so where you're growing and expanding here is in figuring out, okay, how do I operate with this situation? How do I cope, and how do I get around this situation? Excuse me for a minute. Sorry about that, Leo. Now I'm back, and we're going to look next at those things that you stand for. So this is something that somebody has said something to you about. Maybe they just required an explanation, or maybe they totally straight up confronted you on this situation. So we're going to look at what is this situation that you stand for. So it looks like you have somebody who is in your sphere of influence, and probably this other person's as well. And this person is somebody who really likes to think things through, and they like to do things logically, and they started to come a little bit off balance. They started to do things based on their emotions and react to things instead of thinking things through logically. And this person, I feel like this person has come to you for help some way. Maybe they're just using you as a sounding board to try to work through these situations that are triggering them, or maybe they're actually asking you to, help mediate in a situation, or help for things to run smoother in a situation. And I feel like this person is, things are going well with that. And I think that this person decides after your help, after your assistance, that this person decides that, okay, I can talk to this person that I was having a problem with, or I can be out around people again. I think this person really just backed away from things to kind of think things over, and so they're coming back out after your assistance, whether you're a sounding board or a mediator or whatever. Now, how this other person who's asked you or confronted you about this situation feels after you have had this conversation is they feel like, first of all, you're dealing with somebody who, what I'm hearing is they're a little bit childish. They may also be somebody that you have known for a very long time, but they feel like the person you're dealing with is acting really in a childish way. They're feeling like that person never changes. This is their normal MO. And they also feel like, this person has enough resources that they certainly shouldn't need you to step in and stand up for them or to give them any kind of assistance. They feel like this person has enough money to basically buy any of the services that they actually need. Okay, so looks like after this conversation, you and this other person are on, you and the person you've had this conversation with are on two very different pages about how you are going about your interactions with that person that you are assisting in some way. All right, let's look next at your flex point where things start to change direction for you. What do we have going on here? So it looks like there's somebody that originally you had been wanting to collaborate with, or maybe you had actually collaborated with them for a while, and then they were no longer available. I think you were hoping that they would come back into availability for this collaboration, and it just hasn't happened. You're seeing that nothing has changed here. And because nothing has changed, I don't think you want to handle everything that this collaboration did together all on your own. And so what we see here is that you are where I think before you might have been taking it a little bit hard that this collaboration wasn't moving forward. Now you're sort of letting that go because you're looking around and you're realizing, you know what, that's okay if we don't do this because, there are other things that I could be doing. And you know what, they may turn out to be better than what me and this other person were doing. So I think you're looking at other opportunities now. I don't think that you're really bothered so much that this other person isn't collaborating at this point. Also going on at the same time, I do feel like you are finding a lot of satisfaction in your life. At the same time, I don't think that you're not going exactly the direction that you thought you would be going. So I think that these experiences that you're having that you are finding to be satisfied, I think they're kind of a surprise to you. And so these are allowing you to move forward. And yeah, so anyway, so I think that they're positive. It looks to me like they're positive. They're very fulfilling experiences. They're just not what you thought you would be doing. And I think that the idea of having these is giving you some kind of hope for what you can actually accomplish in the future and what kind of situations you can put yourself in the future. Also at the same time, what else do we have going on? This is really an odd thing to say, but I think that you may be leaving home for some kind of training or you're detaching for some kind of training. So if you're taking online training, given that we have COVID and there's a lot of people in the world that are locked down, maybe you're not leaving home in those cases. But I think that even if you're staying home, I think that you're going into a room by yourself, you're closing the door, you're sort of detaching from whatever else is going on in the home so that you can actually get this knowledge, get this teaching, get this training as it comes in. And I think that what's this last card talking about? I think that what you're training in is something new that you're interested in, that you want to find out more about as you're detaching from those around you to really be able to focus on that teaching or on that training. Okay, so next, Leos, let's look at where we see you towards the end of the month. There is something coming in that is turning out to be a little bit disappointing for you here, and I think it has you kind of confused about, well, what way do I want to go now? I wasn't expecting this so much, and it looks to me like this is going to be something that, whatever this disappointment is, it's going to be something that takes a little bit of time to heal up from. I think that you're kind of in a situation where you're more or less feeling left out. And I think that you're having a hard time dropping that negative energy, which is causing you some confusion as you're trying to make some decisions going through just everyday life. Okay? So what do we do about that? We focus on the good stuff. Because by focusing on the good stuff, the things that make us happy, the things that we do appreciate, by focusing on those, we bring in more good stuff, and we minimize the disappointment that's happening in our lives. So that's the best suggestion for that. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate your support. It's because of all of you guys that I get to do what I love to do for my living. And so, everything from watching these videos to putting thumbs ups on them, sharing them, to buying Reiki sessions and readings and Reiki candles, all of that stuff helps me move forward. So I appreciate every single one of you. I hope you all have a wonderful month. And if I don't see you again here real soon for our private, then I'll see you back again on the next video. Peace out.